do a PowerPoint, put my chair up a little bit. Good morning, good morning, good morning. First of all, apologies, everyone, for being late. Thank you so much for your patience. Today's Friday, February 26, 2026. Welcome to the Special Personnel and Hiring Committee. I'm Councilmember Tim McCosker. Let's start with roll call.
Very good. Councilmember McCosker.
Here.
Councilmember Rodriguez. Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Here.
2 present.
Thanks very much. So we have 9 items on the agenda. I'm going to recommend after public comment that we take items 1, 4, and 5 on consent. That leaves items 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9 for discussion. And I'm going to recommend that item 2 be continued. So we can consider that after public comment. We are ready to receive public comments from the general public. As a special committee meeting, we will only be taking comments on agenda items, no general public comment. 1 minute per item. Multiple items means up to 2 minutes to speak if you so choose. And I'm going to ask our clerk to call the names that have signed up to speak.
Mr. Chair, President, we don't have the electronic system functioning, so we'd have to take them manually. I don't have a list.
Oh, okay. So given that, is there anyone that would like to speak on any item on the agenda? Seeing none? Going once, going twice, we will close public comment. Thanks very much. That concludes public comment opportunity. I would like to ask if my colleagues are ready to vote on the items that would be on the consent agenda. That would be 1, 4, and 5. Is that right? Okay, if nothing's to be taken off, the consent agenda, item 1 is to approve the city attorney report and adopt the draft ordinance.
1 second.
Item 4 is to note and file the Lacers report. Item 5 is to approve the LA Fire and Police Pensions Report recommendations. Can you call the roll?
Councilmember McCosker.
Yes.
Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Yes.
Very good. Those matters are approved.
Thank you very much. We will move then to the discussion agenda. Could you read item 3 into the record?
Okay, item number 3 is continued from June, July, August, September, November, December, January, and February 2026. Follow-up reports from various departments relative to citywide layoff management and related matters.
Thanks very much. I think we're joined by Personnel Department today. It's so interesting. The distances are so much farther. Personnel and CAO Department today. If you can come forward and give us just a brief overview. Again, for members of the public, this is an item that we have held in committee during the entirety of the budget year, and we'll continue to hold it as we are considering what were the proposed layoffs and the implementation plan for hanging on to our employees and managing our budget at the same time. So why don't we go ahead and would CAO go first? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kimberly Squire with the Office of the CAO, here to talk about the status of eliminated filled positions. This is as of February 12th, 2026. We will have updated numbers at the next meeting. As of July 1st, 2025, there were 595 eliminated filled positions. And through transfers and regular attrition, there are now 184 eliminated filled positions, with 152 of them in the police department. This is an overall reduction of 39 positions since the last report from January 15th, 2026, when there were 223 eliminated filled positions, with 187 of them being in the police department. And it is expected that these numbers will continue to decrease, and we will have updated numbers at the next meeting. And then we have colleagues from personnel and police here as well to answer questions.
Thank you.
To facilitate the transfer of individuals out of sub-authorities, we've created the expedited transfer portal, where we've worked with departments across the city to identify vacancies to receive those transfers. Presently, we have 407 vacancies across the city, increase of 17 that we can move people into. Of course, as you know, not all of the vacancies align exactly with the classifications. But at least we are still continuing to receive information from departments that there are vacancies for people to transfer into. Since the last meeting, 3 additional conditional job offers were made, making that a total of 188. 2 were accepted, 1 was declined, so unlike last time, we did have 1 declination. So at this point, 120 transfers have been completed, an increase of 2 since the last meeting.
Okay. Okay, so, I appreciate the progress from the 595 and those 400 jobs, 410 jobs that were, or careers that have been continued. 152 filled sub-authorities in the police departments, still a big number, and that means that 32 of those are outside of the police department.
Yes.
How do we feel about the being able to match those 32 to some of the 470 that are open?
I think we feel fairly confident. A number of them are in the personnel department, and we've identified solutions for those folks. It's just a matter of making transfers. Those are internal solutions within the personnel department. So that reduces the number by, I think, approximately 8. There are a number of departments that are working on the same. As attrition increases, some of those vacancies that have been identified are within the departments. I believe that have the individuals who do need transfers. So it's a process, and I think that we feel confident that we'll be able to move at, if not all, the absolute majority of those people before.
Those 32.
Of those 32.
And then so of the 152 in the police department, I would imagine these are unique classifications. And we're slowing down on the moves out of those positions. Is that because the unique classifications make it more difficult for people to move? And maybe
believe
this is
so.
an opportunity to talk about the road show and how we are tailoring the road show or focusing the road show on these police civilian positions.
Yeah, I'll ask Steve Rivera to expound upon that.
Thank you, Malika. Steve Rivera with the Personnel Department. Apologize for my voice. I've identified 5 different classifications for LAPD. And working with LAPD, they believe that they're going to get down to about 4 to 5 positions that are unique to LAPD that we would need to find a home for. So we're waiting for LAPD, once they make all their final moves, to determine which 5 positions we're going to have to look for these individuals to find a home. Internally, we have identified in lieu positions that they can go into. So once we get that number down in those individuals, we're confident that we'll be able to find a home for them, assuming that they accept the conditional job offers.
So if that's to say that 45 of these positions are unique, that means a little over 100 of those positions have common classification and are more easily moved?
Yeah, specifically, there was 5 unique job classifications to LAPD, 24 positions in total. Based on what LAPD is able to move and based on what they've informed us, they believe that by the next month or so, there will only be about 4 to 5 individuals in these specific LAPD positions that we would need to find homes for.
Okay, I think what I understand you to say is that of the 152 positions, these are folks sitting in sub-authorities.
Correct.
For whom there should not be an expectation of a position on July 1 of 2026. What you're saying is 45 or fewer of those are unique positions that don't have a corollary somewhere else in the city?
Correct, and actually specifically, it's 24.
24?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So why is it that the 126 others are moving more slowly out of sub-authorities than we have found in the rest of the city?
I don't have an answer for that. We did the road show in December. We believe it was fairly effective in terms of the attendance. I believe we had about 160 plus people attend. Applications went up after the road show, especially at LAPD. So we've been moving applications. My hope is that they're in the middle of interviews and hopefully CJOs are coming as that uptake happened in January and February, and it takes a little while for them to schedule the interviews, make decisions on the conditional job offers and accepting them. So I'm hopeful that in the next month we can report even larger numbers.
Okay, thank you. Colleague? Does LAPD want to add anything? I appreciate you being here. I would be curious to know if anecdotally you know why it seems like opportunities for common classifications transfers in the portal are moving more slowly in police than it seems in the rest of the general population. And it feels, without more information, it feels like a game of chicken that could be bad for the folks that have the opportunity to move to another job in the city that is funded and are not doing so.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Commander Mario Mota with Personnel Group, LAPD. To piggyback on Mr. Rivera's comments, we, aside from the roadshow internally, the department, we've been pushing our employees to apply on the expedited transfer portal. And as recently as January 28th, we reposted the roadshow on our LAN system. Myself, I've personally sent out emails to all the commanding officers of the LAPD, encouraging them to encourage their employees to apply under the ATP process. And then we've also posted it on the LAN. We send out an email to those employees and those impacted classifications as well to encourage them to move forward. Once we're done with the moves, today, by the end of today, we're going to be down to 110 positions. And then starting next week, we're going to start the process of transferring 32 folks out of the sub-authorities into vacant positions, which should take us to about March 20th to do. And then we'll be down to 78 employees still in sub-authority, 78. And then of which unique classifications, we've already been able to eliminate several unique classifications, but we'll be left with about 5 after March, April, we'll have 5 employees still there. But we continue to encourage our employees to apply, and we just think it's just the delay in the interview process and the selection process.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. With that, then, we will continue to hold this item in committee. And I don't think we need a roll call to hold the matter. I'm just going to so order it be held. The elected city controller is here today, and I apologize. I probably should take out of order the item you're interested in, unless you want to just take it in the normal order. Normal order. Thank you. Again, apologies. I should have offered that at the outset. Can we read item 6 into the record?
Very good. Item 6, continue from November 5th, December 3rd, 2025, and January 23rd, 2026. Bureau of Engineering reports in motion, McOsker Hirado, relative to having hiring status in connection with the Los Angeles Convention Center expansion and modernization project.
Thanks very much. I believe we have BOE here, Personnel Department as well. If you could come to the table. This is an item we've held in committee to monitor the hiring process of the positions, to allow us to bring the Convention Center project on time and on budget. There's no other alternative. And I think this is when we hit a point where all of the positions have been hired, or it looks like they are in process to be hired, we'll move this up to council. I'm hoping today is the day that we can move this item. But I will await a report from, will you just announce your presence for the record and give us a brief report as to where we are in the process?
Yes, absolutely. Richard Louie with the Bureau of Engineering, here to report on the status of our hiring. So thank you so much. The Bureau of Engineering, as part of the approval of this project, was approved for 13 positions. Out of those 13 positions, 10 are filled. 2, the interview process is in progress, and 1, the interview process is pending. So we are continuing to fill these positions, but we do have 3 vacancies that we are working on.
Okay, when you say the interview process is in progress and the other is pending, I'm interested to know what pending means and why is it pending?
One of our positions, a new civil service list is being established. We need to have that list established before we can start it.
Okay, so it has to make it through the commission?
Yes.
Okay. Anything to add?
Hi, Hal To from the CAO office.
Yeah.
Just overall, in general, there was 33 positions authorized.
Yeah.
26 are filled. There's 7 vacancies, which Richard talked about. The engineering have 4 vacancies. And then Bureau of Contract Administration, CAO, and Board of Public Works, Office of Accounting each have 1 vacancy.
And what's the status of those, of getting those hired on?
We have representatives from Bureau of Contract Ad and Office of Accounting here.
Can Con Ed
I
come on
believe.
up and Public Works come on up and just tell us where we're at? And when we get through that, for the Bureau of Engineering, I'll want to know about the progress, whether or not these empty positions are affecting our progress on the project.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Councilmember. Raul Mendoza, Assistant Director at the Bureau of Contract Administration. So we do have 1 vacancy. It's a senior construction inspector. I think we're kind of assessing the work that we have in front of us. We are gonna, I think in May, we're expecting more like night shifts and graveyard to sort of ramp up. So we're trying to assess staff. We do have a cert out for assistant inspector. And so what we would do is we would fill that in other places and move more experienced staff from other programs over to Convention Center for senior construction inspector.
I'm sorry, unpack that, meaning you don't think you need the position at all or now?
We don't know if we need it right now. I think we're okay right now, but in May, we'll probably have a lot more, different shifts, so we'll probably have to stagger the staff that we have. So a few in the daytime, a few in the nighttime, so that we're fully staffed during all parts of the work that's
But you're
taking
not
place.
holding to wait, right?
No, because like I said, we started the assistant inspector, so that'll fill a position somewhere else that then we can move someone from a different place over to the convention center.
Okay, so that's 1 at Con Ed. How about the, at Public Works?
Good morning, Council Chair and council members. TJ Knight with the Board of Public Works. When last I updated your committee, we were completely filled. All 6 positions had acceptances, and 5 of those have started. We since had a rescission of a conditional job offer that was accepted. This happens sometimes with accountants who are new to the city. They continue to go on interviews. This is what happened in this case. We did have interviews for this accountant spot vacancy yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm just awaiting the scoring results and if there is a selection.
Okay, then starting with Public Works, and we'll go to Con Ed and then back to engineering before I ask the CAO to come up himself. Is this rescission and now you're back to the drawing board, is it affecting our ability to move money and push the project?
It is not. We're absorbing that work right now with the higher level positions that are filled.
Okay, and you are progressing towards, you're going to move with urgency to get the position filled so that we're not taking people off other projects.
Yes.
And then at Con Ed, you basically gave us your description of how you're addressing the work. You are addressing the work now, but you're moving with urgency to make sure that we have the position filled by that April-May date where you think you're going to really need that position.
Yes.
And so when we come back, each of you will be able, because we're going to hold this again, each of you will be able to give us the progress of where you are on the conditional offer and where we are on getting the project description. Oh, no, that was actually for engineering. So I'll ask engineering to come on up, if you don't mind. Make sure everybody gets their steps in. So tell me about these 4 positions and whether or not, I can expect what your answer is, but explain to me how we are not slowing the project in any way by having 4 empty positions on the positions that were absolutely imperative to have in place to make sure the project didn't slow down.
Yes, and just to clarify, when we did submit our reports to the committee, there were 4 vacancies. One of those vacancies was just filled this week, so there are 3 vacancies. But the team is tracking tasks and prioritizing the critical tasks to ensure that those critical tasks are processed in a timely manner so as not to impact the progress of this project. Some people are going above and beyond to ensure that we are covered on all areas of the project, but filling these 3 remaining additional vacancies will help us to do better.
Okay, and then when do you expect to have them filled?
I expect to have them filled by the end of this fiscal year. I think the two that the interview process is in progress, I anticipate in the next month. The last remaining one where we need to wait for a list to be established, we have to wait for the list to be established and then filled. But I believe that we should be able to fill that one position that we're waiting for the list by the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, it would be ideal to have it filled while we are in the budget deliberations. Don't put us in a position where we have to articulate the reason for the position all over again.
Understood.
So keep moving.
Understood.
Colleague, questions before? I'm going to ask the CIO to come up. Mr. Zabo, if you're here. I know you're here, but if you're available to come up. Our colleague, Councilmember Rodriguez, has asked in multiple meetings, and we are going to come back today to give us an overview of where we are in project, or do a compare and contrast of project management for the convention center to the airport sub-project of the People Mover. And I want to make sure that Councilmember Rodriguez is here to hear it, but I think it would be fair to say, since it's an important matter, that you respond today. Give us a little compare and contrast and get ready for what will probably be a repeat of this or an emphasis of this when our council member colleague is available.
Sure. I can just give you a very brief overview. We were prepared to discuss, there were a number of questions asked. How is the LACC contract set up on a similar basis with the LAWA People Mover contract? There are some similarities. They are both design build, although the LAWA APM is a much more complex P3 design build, finance, operate, and maintain structure with private financing and long-term operations and maintenance. For the LACC project, we focused it just on the construction side, where the city would manage the operations and maintenance, so those costs were not built in. Both projects were roughly $2 billion, at least at award. One of the, in terms of the development paths, there was, the LACC project benefited from a lengthy early works phase, more than 12 months, where there was site investigation and significant work that was done to try to mitigate challenges that would come up in such a complex project. The LAWA project had a much more limited early works phase of its project. We were also asked, as it relates to significant challenges, contentious issues, lessons learned, and how the Convention Center project seeks to address them. Some of them have to do with the contract language. I would, given that there could be disputes over relief events, et cetera, I would not want to get into specific details in this setting. I will say, though, one major difference is as it relates to contingency. And there was a significant discussion about the cost of the LACC project. A major driver of that cost was a robust city-held contingency. We set aside 10% contingency for claims and an additional 5% contingency for scope changes. On the contrary, the LAWA APM project originally held $145 million for owner's contingency. That amounts to about 7% of the design build price. On the LACC side, together with the city-held contingencies, and then $100 million for contractor-held contingency. On top of, I'm sorry, there was the contractor-held contingency of $100 million on top of the 10% and 15% for the city-held costs. So Again, not, our hope is not to exhaust those contingencies, but those are built into the costs. What I would, at the chairman, at your discretion, I could follow up with your colleague on any more specific questions, or if you or Mr. Soto Martinez have specific questions, my colleague Hato or Bureau of Engineering could address them at this point.
You have questions? No, I don't think I have any questions right now. I think it would be a good idea to follow up with Councilman Rodriguez. And I would expect, we are going to hold the whole item over, and so there may be an opportunity next time to address this and those follow-up questions.
Okay, and we can also prepare a kind of a side-by-side so that you can review it at the same time as
Yeah.
we're walking through it.
I do think submitting a writing, this will be agendized at the next meeting. I do think submitting a writing as part of this report would be ideal. And then hopefully next time on the position authorities, we're going to be at a place where we can anticipate that all the positions will be filled, or at least have a schedule. And I would like to move this item to the full council next time.
Okay.
So we'll hold it. And by the way, just for everybody's edification, there is a pending motion that'll be in Budget and Finance to do a regular update of progress on the project, which will be really an open and public discussion of the written updates that you anticipate providing on where we are on expenditures, on timelines, on, progress for the project.
That's right, and we'll be providing that first report together with BOE in early March.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you. With that, I think we'll hold this item in committee at least one more time, and I don't think a vote is required.
No.
Then, Mr. Clerk, can you read item 7 into the record?
Item number 7, continued from October 3rd, 2025, Personnel Department reports relative to the sworn hiring in the Los Angeles Police Department.
Thank you very much. If our friends could come to the table. I think we're joined by personnel and LAPD. And if you could introduce yourself for the record, and I think we're going to go through the dashboard.
Good morning. My name is Christine Tan from the Personnel Department. I'm here today to provide an update on the entry-level Peace Officer Public Dashboard related to the LAPD Police Officer hiring pipeline. This report highlights the continued impact of structural and operational efficiencies implemented in fiscal year 2025-26, specifically reviewing the period from September 16, 2025 to February 12, 2026. To measure progress, the department compared two specific timeframes. The baseline period is July 11, 2025 to September 15, 2025, and the update period is September 16, 2025 to February 12, 2026. The comparison focuses on the median number of days it takes for candidates to move through the various steps of the hiring process. So overall, the median time to complete the 6 steps between the multiple choice test and the psychological evaluation has dropped from 182 days to 133 days. That's a total reduction of 49 days since the September update. There are 2 areas where the significant reductions were made. The first area is the Personal History Statement, or PHS review, to PHS status. The median time for this phase dropped by 9 days, from 26 days to 17 days. The second area is the field investigations to final decision. This historically long phase saw the most dramatic improvement, decreasing by 37 days, from 120 days down to 83 days. This reduction was driven by optimized case management, strengthened internal alignment, and closer collaboration between leadership and investigative teams. Since the last update, the Personnel Department has continued to observe and sustain positive outcomes in the hiring pipeline. Data from the most recent reporting period confirms that initial efficiencies have not only held steady, but have shown continued incremental progress. While the total hiring process still exceeds 180 days, these targeted improvements show we are moving in the right direction. We expect the timeline to continue decreasing as further planned efficiencies are implemented. Thank you.
My name is Michael Rose with the Personnel Department, and I'm going to be using the public dashboard to illustrate the improvements that Christine just mentioned in her report.
Okay.
So we have the dashboard on the screen up there behind you, and we're going to start with the first step in the process.
Pardon my back, we don't have it on our front screens, okay?
Understood. So the first step is the reading and writing assessment. This is a multiple choice test the candidates make. And as a reminder, the change that was made on July 1st of 2025 was to move entirely to online testing. Online test results are processed quicker than in-person tests, so it's more efficient in that sense, and also is a more efficient sense of city resources not having proctors on site. So this first timeline, as Christine mentioned, is from July 1st of 2025 to September 15th of 2025, and we'll look at this timeline here, which is the timeline for processing the scores. The average days was 2, and the median was 1. As a reminder, the previous report back, that had been a decrease from when we had in-person testing. When we look at whether we were able to maintain that from September 16th of 2025 to February 27th of 2026, it is the same. So the average is still 2, and the median is still 1. So the next step, this is the personal history statement. This wasn't included in our previous report back. But this is the first step in the background process. This is a lengthy report or a lengthy document the candidates complete. It has information on their background, and that will later be used during the field investigation process. So we're looking at the timeline for the PHS review. Specifically, we're going to be looking at these medians and averages here. From July 11th of 2025 to September 15th of 2025, we see the average days were 29 and the median were 27. And when we look at the next timeline from September 16th, 2025 to present, we see those go down to an average of 19 days, median of 17. We'll note, this is something to keep in mind, there are still about 1,000 PHS left to be processed during this timeline, just because we go up to the present date for PHS that were submitted, so this could go up. It's unclear if it would go up to the same level it was before, but that's something we'll probably be able to report back on in future reports. Okay. The next step is going to be the medical evaluation, and what we're going to look at here is the impact that the removal of self-scheduling and the enforcement of the personnel policies related to late test administrations had on the timeline. During our previous report, we showed that we had seen a decrease when those changes were implemented in July 11th, and we wanted to see if that was maintained. So in the first timeline from the July 11th, the date of those changes, to September 15th, if we look down here at this timeline, it was an average of 39 days from the date that the candidate passed their interview to the date that they attended their medical evaluation, and the median was 22. So you see there's a positive skew in the average. One of the reasons for that is because we had the legacy candidates from prior to when the changes were made who may have had their interview 2-3 months in the past and hadn't yet scheduled themselves. So when we scheduled them for an appointment, that pulled up the average.
Okay.
So when we look at the new timeline from September 16th to present, once we've cleared out those legacy candidates, we see now we've maintained an average and a median of 14 days. So there's no positive skew, and it is a significant decrease in the timeline. Okay, so the next step we're going to look at is the polygraph exam. Very similar to what we looked at for the medical evaluation. We're going to be looking at the timeline from the interview to the polygraph. Something to be kept in mind here is we do have the medical evaluation typically between those two steps. So candidates during this time aren't just waiting for their polygraph. They are completing the medical. So when we look at the July 11th, 2025 to September 15th of 2025 timeline, we see there's an average of 55 days, a median of 30. Again, we're seeing that positive skew because we had the legacy candidates. And if we look at the new timeline from September 16th to present, we see the average is 34 and the median is 27. So we see a 3-day decrease in the median, which is modest, but it is progress, and we see not the dramatic positive skew that we had in the previous report back. All right, and the next step we're going to look at is the field investigation. This is another step we didn't include in the report back during our last meeting. But for this one, we're going to be looking at the timeline to complete the investigations. In this initial timeline, we're looking at investigations that were completed from July 11th, 2025 to September 15th of 2025. We see over here, the average was 121 days and the median was 120. So we're dealing with about 4 months for both. And then if we look at the updated timeline from September 16th to present, we see those go down to 92 and 83. One thing to keep in mind here is we did have a large number of disqualifications during the previous timeline that had been cleared out. And disqualifications typically take a little bit longer to review. But when we look just at the okay cases, which are the passes, there was still an improvement. So I'm filtering here. During our previous timeline, the okay cases were still taking slightly over 100 days, both on average and median. And when we look at the most recent timeline from September 15th to present, and we just look at okay cases, we do see there was about a 2-week decrease even just looking at the passes. And then the last step we'll look at is just the psychological evaluation. So this will be looking at the time it takes candidates to attend their psychological evaluation after passing their field investigation. And during the previous timeline from from July 11th to September 15th, if we're looking down here at this timeline here, both the average and the median were 5 days for both. So after the candidates passed their background, they were attending their psych typically in 5 days. And when we're looking at the most recent timeline from September 16th to present, we see the median stays the same. We did see a 1-day increase in the average, but the median is consistent. And that's the last step of the dashboard we want to go through today.
Thank you. Thank you. So it showing that once we get through the legacy files, we brought it down by a month and a half, almost 2 months.
Correct.
Yeah. I will say, as I was looking at the progress of all these files, I was really cheering for that over 60 candidate who fell out. You know, if we can get an over 60 candidate, you're doing well. The medical might be hard, but typically a very wise person. I guess not as funny as it seemed in my head.
You would think.
You would think. Any questions, colleague?
Yeah, I have a few questions.
Sure, go right ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. There's a career after this for you, Mr. Councilmember. Well, thank you so much for your report. And I have, well, the last time I was on personnel and this conversation about speeding up hiring came up, I think it was through a different method. And the biggest concern at the time was us having memories of a Rampart, right, and the scandal, and how many of those police officers that were in the department were because we sped through the hiring in the years before. I don't know. Is it working? Hello, hello. Yeah? Okay, there it goes. Thank you. I don't know if you heard what I said, but okay, great. Can you explain, so it sounds like the personal history statement and the field investigation are both related to the background of the applicant, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And those seems to have the biggest jumps, or the biggest days being removed. Personal history statement went from 26 median to 17, and then the field investigation went from 120 to 83. Can you explain what has been done different? Why has that sped up?
Sure. Yes, so it's because of optimized case management and the just closer collaboration between the leadership and investigative teams.
What does that mean? Yeah, can you dig a little deeper?
Right. So we've created a new method to assign these field investigations, and also a way to track it. So we're more transparent with our background investigators, as far as where they are at their investigations, kind of asking for updates on that end.
Has there been any changes to? So can you walk me through what someone who's doing these two steps? What are they? Do they have a form? Do they have questions that they ask? Is it? Yeah. Can you illuminate me, please?
Good morning, Vince Cordero, Chief HR Specialist with the Personnel Department. So I'll start the PHS, the Personal History Statement. That is the first initial review of an individual or candidate's background. It's a very lengthy document. Right now, the way the process works is it's a joint effort between LAPD, and personnel. LAPD has their officers do the first initial review of the PHS against our background standards. From there, it goes to personnel for final review and approval. We have optimized that in terms of the communication between LAPD and personnel. So it's been more internal management in terms of making sure we get the PHS's process in a quick manner. It does also allow us to, in recent times with this new LAPD hiring division, to ensure that we are having consensus or are on the same page. So we've been calibrating a lot more to make sure, hey, you know, if there's something that we see as concerning, we talk it out, and you know, candidates are either continuing process or they're disqualified. I will say there is a lot of disqualified candidates who are pending review right now. So kind of what we're seeing right now is there is a backlog of DQ cases and OK cases. So the OK cases are moving forward on this timeline. The DQ cases, which have been reviewed, are still pending final approval. And that is the case for both the PHS as well as the field investigation. Those could ultimately come back into the process, but personnel right now, we're doing our best with the limited resources we have to focus on candidates who have no clear issues. So those candidates who are viable candidates are moving quickly through the process. The candidates who need a deeper look are staying put. So to address the question about like if there's something concerning in their background, those are staying put till a deeper dive is being looked at this point.
And that's just in the personal history statement or throughout the process?
That is for personal history statement and field investigation as well. But we do not have as many DQs or SABIs as they're called for the field investigation. There's about 100 that are pending. So we've been trying to move those because we've already spent quite a few resources and time on those candidates, and those candidates have spent a lot of time with us. So we've been trying to get to those as well as quickly as possible. But we're hoping with additional resources we received, we'll be able to get that up and running much quicker and not have a backlog there.
Was there, but this is this a new process with LAPD? Was it the PHS STEP? Has it always been a collaborative effort between LAPD and personnel?
It's been in place, and I'm not sure of the history, how long I've been in this section since September.
It's gone back and forth.
Why don't you do it into the microphone, just so we preserve the records? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Commander Mario Mota with Personnel Group, LAPD. The PHS statement is a collaborative effort between the Police Department and Personnel Department. We work hand in hand. We both have a say in the process, but up until last year, middle of last year, it was the responsibility of LAPD to review all of the PHSs, and then it would go for final review to the Personnel Department, and then it switched back to Personnel Department. So we go back and forth depending on the caseload and the demands and our hiring goals.
And so how is it now? It sounds like it's a collab.
So right now it's
how is
back
it
at
now?
Personnel Department.
So it starts at personnel, goes to LAPD, and then there's a collaborative conversation about.
Yeah, for initial review and then assignment.
Okay. But no changes to the questions and the what we're asked for the candidates. Everything's the same information. We're asking for the same information now as it was before.
Correct. It's the same PHS application.
Okay. And then for the sorry, give me a second. The field investigation. Can you dig a little deeper and what does that step look like? The field investigation.
Absolutely. So we have a total of approximately 10 field investigators that go out to the actual current employer, talk to the family. They send out questionnaires. Family and friends. Every candidate is asked for a certain number of references, and those are primarily followed up by the primary background investigator. We also have our background support unit, which goes out to prior employers, other friends, school sites, et cetera, to conduct those investigations out in the field.
Mm-hmm. So 10 investigators and then a support unit, and this has been the biggest drop, right? Went from 120 median days to 83. What's been different about that?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll let him finish, but one of the changes we did highlight during the previous timeline, we had cleared out a lot of those disqualifications, which Vince kind of mentioned, and those typically take longer to review. Still, after that, we did have about a 15-day decrease in the timeline. So it doesn't account for the entire change, but that's one reason.
Yeah, in addition to just looking at the packages that were in the queue and triaging them and going to them for the most viable candidates so that we could process those candidates quicker. So I think that also impacted those numbers.
Yeah. And how do you decide whether, I see here that's hard deny, right? I assume they were like disqualified, but I understand how a multiple choice test works. You know, you get a certain amount right, you get a C, B, A. How do you decide whether they move forward here? How do you qualify? How do you decide that? How do you grade that?
There's the guidebook that we go by, and it's a confidential guidebook.
Confidential to the public, or?
Correct.
Okay. All right, well, is it scored? Is it pass, no pass?
And there's dozens and dozens of factors that we consider for the candidate.
And has that changed? Has the guidebook changed?
I don't know when the last time it was updated, but we've been using that for maybe a couple of decades.
Okay, so it hasn't changed?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you. This has been very interesting. Actually, last sort of string of questions. In the past, when one thing that has changed is that we're now filling our classes, right? The academy classes. That has changed. More so, Monica's like, más o menos. But it feels like it's gone up. I think the numbers show that it's gone up. And when that was being debated very heavily, my first and second year, there was this belief that if we just speed the process, it'll increase the classes. Is there a correlation or a connection between the two?
I don't understand the question clearly.
So the number of recruits in our academies has gone up.
Correct.
That's gone up. Has it been due to this shorter timeline? How much can we attribute that to the shorter timeline, the shorter processing timeline?
I think there is a correlation there because the quicker we're able to process our candidates through our system, right? The quicker we're able to make them a job offer as opposed to them waiting, let's say, close to a year. And meanwhile, they're applying at multiple agencies, so they might get a job offer sooner from a neighboring agency. So the fact that we're able to process them within, hopefully in the future here, in the very near future, under 6 months, then they'll be more inclined to take the job offer with the LAPD.
Yeah, Mr. Cordero?
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that as well, that we do see that connection. We are competing with local agencies, and often, if we're not quick enough, we are losing them to the sheriff, to Santa Monica. It happens often, and if we are slow in the process, that's the risk we're taking. So there is definitely a positive correlation in terms of speeding it up. And right now, what we're seeing is between our resources, and I just want to clarify for the record that we have additional background investigators assigned to the personnel department. We have about 20, plus the investigators over at LAPD. So our combined effort is what we're seeing here in terms of the timeline as well. But it definitely will help, but we definitely don't want to take away from any background standards or quality. We're still very much enforcing those in terms of ensuring that the right people that are moving through, we just want to ensure that it is in a quick and fair manner as well.
And Mr. Chair, I don't know, I'm taking up a lot of time here.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Look, it's my questions are coming again from just a concern, right? That if we do this, we want to repeat the mistakes we did in the past. As we've gone through this shorter timeline, has there been any adjustments to our process? Have we looked at it and said, you know what, we don't really need to be so focused on this, or maybe that's just unnecessary? Any changes or?
Not yet. The changes that were reflected in the bulletin as of last July, those were the removal of the self-scheduling, as well as removing from in-person testing. Those have been the only structural changes in place. We are looking at additional changes for the next bulletin, which we'll be happy to report. We have another report coming here, and those things are changing the order of testing, We're looking at a one-day hiring event where we can knock out 3 of these test parts. We're looking at changing the PFQ to a PAT, which is essentially the same test, but it would be pass-fail to kind of focus on the candidates who are physically fit for the job, who will be successful in the academy and so forth. So those changes are coming. They have not been put in place. We are looking at putting those at a later date. But beyond that, it's just been more of a collaboration and ensuring that we're on the same page and more administrative things to move candidates along further. On top of those, removal of the self-scheduling and the removal of the self-proctoring or the proctoring test.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you. Those are excellent questions. I mean, what I just heard is that we haven't changed standards, we haven't lowered standards, we've sped up processes, gaps in time, but we haven't eliminated anything that would allow us to pursue a red flag or to pursue a great candidate. I mean, no one wants to move this along quickly for the sake of moving along quickly and put ourselves in a position where we're getting candidates that we regret getting.
Correct.
That is correct. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, sounds fair.
All right, thank you. Colleague, I'm going to ask you this. We can either move this forward, note and file it, and we'll be done with it, or hold it over one more time. I'm inclined to hold it over one more time because I'd like just to hear where we are, where we have, cleared the legacy files. But I would like to note and file this and put the Budget and Finance Committee and the rest of the council in a position to consider this in the budget deliberations as we move forward. Okay, so we'll hold it one more time. Thank you very much. No vote is needed on that. And I'm going to let the Live Well folks know that our next item is probably going to take a little while. And it's very likely we'll not get to the last item on our agenda, but we do have another special back in downtown Los Angeles, the other side of the world, next week. So with that, can you call, Mr. Clerk, item 8 into the record?
Item number 8, City Administrative Officer Report relative to supplemental resources for the Human Resources Payroll Project.
Thank you. We are joined by the CIO, and we have the personnel, LAPD, ITA, and the controller here. And I think I will thank you for your patience, Mr. Controller. I think I'll ask you to come to the table first and give you the opportunity to present, speak, give your observations about the report back.
Sure. Thank you so much, Chair McOsker, for having us here. I also have with me our Chief Operating Officer, James Robinson, who oversees the payroll function in our office. So we read the CAO's analysis and report, and it falls very short on understanding how payroll works and also the historical context of our office when it comes to payroll. Our office got 27 positions cut a few years ago, and that included close to 9 positions in payroll. And that was during the time that Workday went live. And they referenced that, snow tickets went down to around 120 a month, but they're not considering the fact that these snow tickets are being used in a different manner than it was before, and that when you actually include the email and the phone calls and the help desk that we get through our other avenues outside of snow tickets, our monthly requests for help, and including these snow tickets, is $1,900 a month. In addition, we used to have 6 payroll liaisons. These are the folks that help the 40-plus departments throughout the city when they need help with their payroll. And right now we have 3. And so even if we were to get the 2 that, that we're asking for, we're still short 1. And it's only, Workday is even more complex, it's even more manual, and we need these additional resources. And so for us, we wouldn't be here, if we had sufficient resources, right? That's what their report is saying. They're saying, well, controller, you guys have, this would be more than it was in the past, which is not true. And if it was so, we wouldn't be getting sued all the time. We wouldn't be having the conversations about payroll not working. And we need these the one thing I want to say is we need these resources now than later. When it comes to the budget process, we are going to get some of these positions approved, but we need one that was left off, and it is the FMS 4, the Financial Management Specialist 4, because that is a position in our compensation program, which we used to have Isophine from the CAO handle, but since she's gone, that position is basically, and that work has been left to the controller to be doing all the work. And that was brought up last time, where basically we have these meetings with ERD, with CAO, and they just come in and they just tell everyone what to do without giving additional resources to do this additional work, which is heavy intensive, it's manual. And so these are not small projects. These tickets are not small. These are huge, complex tickets where if we invested just a little more from a financial standpoint, these are small amounts, we could get a lot done. So although we appreciate the CAO's efforts to analyze payroll, the needs to carry out our charter mandated functions are truly and way understaffed and under-resourced, and that's why we're requesting these 7 additional positions. I do want to say that our vacancy rate right now is 7% in my entire office, which is great. And they're recommending that we fill some of these positions using our savings. And I would say that we need these additional positions, plus we need to fill our vacancies, and we need the help and the flexibility to fill these vacancies, because sometimes these lists expire or we have trouble getting candidates from these lists. And as everyone knows here in the city, it's very difficult to get people to come, or to, especially the controllers, because they know they know what they're getting themselves into, right? And so I would say for our recommendation, there are 2 options, right? One is allow us to fill our current vacancies, which is tiny because we still need to because we are short-staffed, and allow us to have these 7 additional positions, but also allow us to have the ability to have substitutes and in lieu positions. So basically, keep our recommendation as is. The other recommendation that I would say is if they don't want to, if we want to go with the CAO's report, and they say, hey, we'll just use your salary savings, just use your vacancies. What we can do is they're saying, well, if you use 4 months of hiring, because they think we could hire in March, but because of the time delays and moving this forward, realistically, the fastest we could get people on is in 2 months. And so they are recommending that we can get 3 positions of the 7 for 4 months using the salary savings. And we're saying, well, realistically, now they're going to start in May. And so we're saying if you want us to use our salary savings, we'd actually recommend that you allow us to hire all 7 positions for 2 months salary savings. And then at least we can get a head start. Because when it comes to the budget, 6 of the 7 are on the table to get approved, which is great. But we need a start now because it takes a while to hire. And so those are my 2 recommendations. One is to let us fill our vacancies because we still need to, and let us get the 7. Or the other is if we really don't want us to fill our other vacancies and use our salary savings, then give us the 7 positions for 2 months. And then we could fill that up, faster and not have to wait till the budget process.
Okay, thank you for that.
Sure.
I'll give you a chance to speak again.
Sure.
I wanted to make sure as the elected city controller, you
Sure.
spoke first. I took it out of order on purpose. I'd like to have the CIO come up and give the report.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'll just say a few things, and my colleague will walk you through the recommendations. I do very much appreciate the controller's comments, characterization of our report. I just would like to remind the committee that this report represents our effort to respond to the need, to respond to the committee's instruction within a broader context of managing the current fiscal year's budget. We will be reporting in about an hour or 2 when we release the mid-year FSR, citywide overspending of more than $200 million. And I'm sure that there will be commentary about the city's ability to control overspending. The best way to control overspending is not to spend more when there is overspending. So the recommendations in the report attempt to be responsive to the committee's instruction, to the need, within not just limited resources, but a context of negative resources. We are recommending 3 positions for the controller. He requested 7. In addition to filling at least 3 vacancies. We believe that is a good start to meet the need in his office, along with the other recommendations that we have to address these issues. So with that, I'll turn it over for a brief summary of the recommendations in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Hello, my name is Andrew Choi with the Office of the City Administrative Officer. Our office conducted a review of the controller's request, where a total of 13 positions were requested, 2 positions in ITA, 7 positions in the controls office, and 4 positions for the LAPD, with an authority for 4 additional positions to be hired above their civilian hiring plan. To conduct this analysis, our primary focus was distinguishing between the temporary operational pressures versus permanent structural workload increases, based on the permanent structural workload increases. Pursuant to city financial policies, new or expanded programs should be addressed during the annual budget process, except under extreme circumstances. Therefore, our recommendations today provide the target short-term support necessary to stabilize workload pressures for the remainder of the fiscal year. A more comprehensive review of long-term staffing needs and structural changes should be conducted during the 26-27 budget development process, where a comprehensive review of HRP and on all of its resources can be addressed. Our report analyzed the 3 departments individually, where our recommendation concluded that it is to address the immediate position shortfall. We recommend 1 programmer analyst 4, subject to pay grade determination by the CAO's Employee Relations Division for ITA, authorized by Revolution 1 Fiscal System Specialist 1, and 2 payroll analysts for the Controller's Office, and instruct the CAO to proceed in unfreezing 4 accounting clerks within LAPD to hire beyond their current civilian hiring plan. These recommendations represent no additional impact to the general fund and is compliant with our financial policies. If the committee would like a more thorough review of each department, that can be provided as well.
Well, if you could, if you could respond, either one of you respond to the request of the controller to use basically the alternative plan, the salary savings and the 2 months of funding additional positions. And my ears perked up when I heard the financial FMS 4 position, which sounded like it was, I read between the lines, it sounded like it was a critical position for the controller's operation.
The FMS 4 position is a leadership role within the office. It's a position that it's with the salary to supervise significant portions of the group. Based on our analysis and based on the request initially, it's been identified that staff level analysis and staff level support is needed. Hence the reason for clerical staff, payroll analysts, and also additional support staff in the technical space. We believe right now this position would fall within a larger discussion on HRP and payroll operations as a whole. We believe this position, the support of this position can be provided by current vacancies that currently exist within the controller's office. If filled, they can provide the leadership necessary for this work.
Colleague, questions?
Yeah, I have a few questions. Missing in this is ITA's opinion of an LAPD's opinion of it as well. I know they're here, but I'll get to that in a bit. I noticed that in the controller's request, it's for 3 accounting clerks in LAPD and 1 senior administrative clerk, but you're unfreezing just 4. Can you explain why the not having a senior administrative clerk?
NPD?
Yeah, LAPD. Am I correct? Your instruction 3 is to unfreeze 4 accounting clerks, but in the controller's report, it's asking for 3 accounting clerks and 1 senior administrative clerk. Can you explain why you want to unfreeze 4 as opposed to 3 and 1?
Yes, so the controller's recommendation recommended additional positions of 3 accounting clerks and 1 senior admin clerk,
Yeah.
and the authority to hire 4 accounting clerks above their civilian hiring plan. Our office is recommending the latter part, the second half of that recommendation, of authorizing 4 additional accounting clerks above the civilian plan, which currently already exists within the LAPD.
But, but why not do 3 and 1 as the request? Why 4 accounting clerks? Why are you leaving out the senior administrative clerk, is what I'm asking.
The senior administrative clerk,
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
This is correct.
the recommendation comes as the request was to assist at administrative and clerical work, specifically around payroll management. LAPD informed us that approximately 1,500, each accounting clerk is responsible for 1,500 payroll transactions per month. Hence, that was a priority over the senior admin clerk. I believe LAPD also informed us that was a priority for them as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dig in a little, and then can I just conclude that? So can we just get LAPD? What is it? Is it 3 accounting clerks and 1 senior, or is it 4 accounting clerks? Just trying to understand the discrepancy.
Warrior, sir, Mario Moda back here. The request was for 3 and 1.
Okay.
But we got, based on the CAO's recommendation, it was to do 4 accounting clerks, which we would gladly take.
But you prefer 3 and 1?
Well, the other issue with the senior admin clerk is that it's an impacted class, on the ETP, expedited transfer, and, there's folks there that would be on sub-authorities, so. I think the other option would probably be better, and we could put them to good use regardless.
Okay. Well, I'm always of the belief that we should give people the tools that they need to do their job, right? So, okay, but you asked for 3 and 1. You'll take 4, and then there's some issues if we go 3 and 1. Okay, got it.
Correct.
How about ITA? They're authorizing 1, but not the second one. Just what challenges will be there? Thank you, Mr. Moto.
Good morning, Ed Magos with ITA. We requested 2 positions, primarily because when we launched the HRP Workday product, we had 14 filled positions. We did not receive any new, ITA did not receive any new positions as part of the Workday implementation. This number of 14 staff is the number that we've had to run payroll on the technology side across the city for many, many years. We know it's the right size for the needs of ITA and for the needs of the city. Over recent years, we have been reduced down to 11 positions on this team, and that is because of a retirement and some staff that moved out of fear of losing their jobs with the city, and so those positions were quickly swept. So the request for 2 was to bring us back up to 13, which is not even where we were when we launched HRP. Our goal is, we've shared before in this committee, we have a significant backlog, and we have new projects coming in all the time, supporting fire and police, the sworn. There are many things we want to do, and we are looking for the capacity, the right size capacity for ITA, for us to really move quickly and thoroughly on the needs of the city, and to do our part in partnership with personnel and controller across this shared project. So having 1 position, we appreciate the offer. We do not have the savings, we do not have the funding to fill even that 1 position right now. We've been reduced 29% in the last budget cycles.
Okay, thank you. And come back to the controller's office, you really made an emphasis on the financial management specialist for, you had the largest request, or the largest difference,
Sure.
I would say. ITA's, they're requesting 1, they were asked was 2, LAPD was 4, even though 1 position's different. Yours is between 1 and, 9, I believe, or 4, 6, 7, sorry. You asked for 7, they gave you 1.
So ITA's 2, LAPD's 4, and then we're 7.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is that the one that you need the most? the financial management specialist for?
I mean, we need all of it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
No, I'll be.
I'm trying to find out where
honest.
the middle is at.
No, I think the departments are being nice for a reason, but I'm independently elected and I could tell you the truth. This amount that we're asking for in total is so small and immaterial, but it could benefit the city so much in payroll for the LAPD. What the LAPD got is the ability to hire 4 current vacancies for their payroll. It's not adding new, it's just asking the CEO to unfreeze their 4 vacancies. So they're not getting anything new. If they get this, they will still be struggling to do payroll. So this thing that the CAO is talking about, which great, but they are analysts who don't understand the operations of departments. And they make these decisions, which I get it, but payroll is so complex and so difficult that anytime LAPD or LAFD has an issue, everyone knows we need to help them first, then we need to help anything else. So I would say that to the council members here, if you can, try to fight for these extra positions. They're tiny in the context of everything. The $200 million in overspending, we know where all that's coming from. We know the liabilities. We know we get sued for these payroll issues, more than how much this actually costs. And I'm so passionate about this because we come here every month for the same exact reasons, for being so short-staffed. And we're requesting, what, 2 positions? 4 accountants? Just to pay people on time, and then we get in trouble for it? So I'm sorry, but I'm asking you to fight for these. You have the power to, so, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Controller. I'll pass back to the chair.
Thanks. We're getting close to the time. So what we have is the ITA positions recommended down to the 1 position instead of analyst 4 and analyst 5 to the 1 position. LAPD unfreezing 4 positions is an add to their capacity. It just is. And I'm going to ask you, for the sake of moving this forward, because if it's going to happen, if any of this is going to happen, we need to move to the council quickly, or we're just in the budget process. What is more important to you, the financial management specialist 4 or the accountant that you didn't get?
So we
Sophie's
got
choice. You can't say all of them.
Right. So we're saying they're giving us 3 for the current salary savings.
Right.
For 4 months.
Yep.
So we're saying that same amount for those 4 month savings for those 3, we could do all 7 for 2 month savings.
Okay, what I'm going to recommend then is that we move the item forward, because this might break down to a 1-1, or it might not have any majority of a quorum. I'm going to recommend that we move this item forward and add the financial management specialist 4. Just do 1 add and send it to the council.
Well, I will, look, I will be supporting that, but I do want this to be a conversation. Look, I'm trying to get you 1 right now. A bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush, right? But I hope this conversation continues in full council, because I do think many of the points that our controller is doing today are valid and are important.
Yeah, my recommendation, it takes the CAO's report in whole, and then adds 1 more position, which will have to be presented, have to be analyzed financially at the full council. It hasn't gone to budget, won't go to budget. I realize the sensitivity of this, given that your financial, that our update is coming out in a couple of hours. But this moves it to the full council and does give everybody a chance to consider the entirety of the request, as well as the CIO's report, or something in between. So that'll be my motion.
Yep, I'll second it.
Without objection, that'll be the order. Now, you want to call the roll?
Certainly. Councilmember McCosker?
Yes.
Councilmember Soto Martinez?
Sorry, is it roll? Yes. Here.
Matter is approved as amended.
Okay, we're going to take the Live Well item and we'll move it over to next week's special agenda back at City Hall. And with that, is there any other business on our calendar?
No, that clears the desk.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much.